Hello and welcome to today's video. Quick disclaimer. Actually call it a list of disclaimers. Disclaimer number 1. I filmed this video to talk about baby prepping tips, but it's not the usual baby prepping tips that you find or you hear about. I'm not here to talk about what to buy, how to decorate your nursery. This is not one of those videos. I'm here to talk about stuff that we did that's a bit, let's say, unorthodox, but stuff that I think was really good. It really worked for us. And on top of all the other baby prepping stuff that you're going to be doing, I feel like what we did was really good and it really helped us, and I just thought, why not share it with you guys? And if it works for you, if you're someone who watches this and thinks, oh, I never thought about that, but it sounds like something I would want to try or maybe I could get into, then you're welcome. Disclaimer number 2, I filmed outside and my microphone failed on me, so the sound isn't that great, guys. I'm just putting it out there. It's not that great, but it's fine. You can still hear me, you can still understand me. There might be some stuff happening in the background, but it still works. So there you have it. And disclaimer number 3, it's a jungle out there. I mean, it's a jungle out there, like literally. So we live close to a forest, literally like the periphery of a forest, and in the middle of my filming there's some forest creatures that came out to play. So just to let you know, as a warning, there's going to be some interruptions from the animals, and it could be fun. It might be something that you're into, I don't know, but at least I'm putting it out there. It's crazy. So I'm just doing this little video to introduce the actual video, to warn you guys and just let you know what's coming. So let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to talk about prepping for a baby. Obviously you're prepping for a baby from the minute you know you're pregnant, but a few months leading up to the actual day, there's a few things you're going to have to put in order. Things I'm going to talk about were very important and they really helped my husband and I, and we felt so much more prepared because of these things. The first thing that people like to do is want to know the sex of their baby, and usually you can find out by the week 20, something like that, when you're about 5 months. That was not something that we wanted to do. We didn't feel like we had to know the sex of the baby for us to be able to know how to prepare. People would ask me, is it a boy or a girl? Even strangers, you know, like people would come up to you and like, oh, congratulations, how far along? Was it a boy or a girl? And that usually was like the third question. And whenever I said I don't know, they'd just be like, why? How are you going to prep for a baby? How are you going to know what to buy? How are you going to know what colors to use? Because it came up so much, I just thought, where's this thing of pink and blue? Luckily, like for myself and my husband, we'd already agreed from the very beginning, we don't care what the sex of the baby was, we don't care about color. First of all, there's so many colors out there. There's green, purple, yellow. Why stick to this blue and pink? And you know, obviously there's something wrong with the marketing gimmicks or like the baby companies that like are conforming to just those two, because we don't understand what's the point. But also, even if we wanted to pick one of those two colors, what does it matter if it's a boy or a girl? All we were saying was we're preparing for a baby. As long as it was healthy, that was the only thing we were worried about. You know, everything was about the vitals, the health, everything just going well. So what we did in that regard, when it came to like buying clothes, we didn't buy any clothes. And that's basically because we got lots of advice about how quickly babies outgrow their clothes, especially in the newborn stage. We were told like if you can get hand-me-downs, like baby clothes are like barely ever worn. And even I remember one time being in the bank, and this is the thing, like I have so many interesting interactions with strangers in Nairobi, especially in Nairobi, and this woman was serving me at the bank, was like, oh, how far along are you? Is it a boy or a girl? And when I said I didn't know, she just launched this lecture of how you're gonna know what to buy, how you're gonna know, you know, what colors and blah blah. And then I usually counterattack, you know. I was like, hold up, what if I buy this stuff and then it doesn't fit? You know, like you don't know what size your baby will be, because that's the other thing that we kept reading about. Like you might end up shopping, especially newborn sizes, and you don't really know the size the baby is going to be. People say, oh, you know, the doctor will know. They measure and tell you, oh, the baby is this long. It's just an estimate. There's no really proper way of knowing. And if you buy a teeny tiny piece of outfit, your baby might come out with like slightly bigger legs or longer arms or something. So I said to this woman, like, you know, what if they don't fit? And then she suddenly was like, oh yeah, actually when I had my son, by the time he came out he was too big and I didn't even get to put him in his like new outfits, so then they just went to waste. And I was like, see? So anyway, so we got lots of advice about not buying clothes for babies if we can avoid it. And because I had friends and family who just had babies who were just like coming up to a year, I asked them, like, you know, rather than buying me something for baby shower gifts, if they can give me hand-me-downs that they're not using anymore. And you'd be surprised just how much moms accumulate when it comes to like baby stuff, especially like if you fall for the marketing gimmicks and you buy all this stuff because it's your precious baby, it's your firstborn, and you want to just like get it the best or get her the best. There's so much stuff that moms accumulate that they either never use or barely ever use. So we got so much stuff for 100% zero bob. Like, it was free, and it was great because a lot of that stuff was new. It was new, but we never spent any money buying it. It was good. It was like in great condition, and like we were just overwhelmed. Like, from the clothes to the baby cot to the car seat. Some people don't really want to just sell it, especially if something they never used, and they don't want to just give it out to just anyone. So hand-me-downs is the biggest tip I can share. If you know someone who has recently had a baby and you think you're like open to the idea, like, it's such a huge money saver. So if you don't mind using hand-me-downs, like they're good. And the other thing is, like, someone was giving me a lecture. I was like, oh, how can you not buy your baby fresh clothes? You know, like, this is your precious baby. What about infections? And I was like, hold up. When you give birth in the hospital, do you ask them to give you fresh sheets, like brand new sheets? Those sheets have probably had many moms bleeding on them, birthing on them, and just been cleaned and ironed and spread out for you to use. So similarly, whatever I get as hand-me-downs, I can clean, iron, and have nice and proper for my baby. And equally, a lot of moms also go shopping in secondhand markets like Toy Market and Gikomba and whatever. So I don't understand why that's supposed to be different from having your friend who you know and maybe even trust more giving you stuff which maybe was brand new from the shop that they never used. So enough of my rant about that. And as far as pink or blue, there's many colors of the rainbow. The spectrum is huge. If you don't feel like you want to, you don't have to conform to just those two colors. One of my friends was like, how am I supposed to know whether to give you something that's pink if it's not a girl? And I was like, just give it to me anyway. And even if it's pink and it's a boy, as long as this boy is like sheltered and warm, do you think he cares? No. If anyone, other people are the ones who care. So they don't know the difference. As long as they're warm, that's all that matters. So for me, I didn't really care. I took whatever came. Now, I can't stress enough the importance of doing prenatal classes. Like, for us, it just opened up our world. Like, because my husband was very committed to being there for the birth and knowing as much as he could. And you know, there's a lot you can learn in school, but there's so much that you will never know. And even people who are moms, some of these things I'll tell them and they'll be like, really? So there's so much information. Like, basically, equip yourself with information. Equip yourself with as much information as you can, because the more that you know about it, the better prepared you are, basically. So we took prenatal classes. It taught us how to labor, the best ways that your partner can help you while you're laboring, breastfeeding, dream feeding, changing nappies, things which you think will come naturally to you, but honestly, it's a bit, especially for a first-time mom, you're gonna be like, and if you don't have like your mom or your auntie or like someone who's experienced in your life living with you to help you, it can be very, you know, you just get lost. So what we did was we had a midwife, and this is the same midwife who did our home birth, and part of her service is giving you prenatal classes. And the beauty with having the midwife is she comes to you rather than going to wherever the prenatal classes are. You know, sometimes they have like what they call Lamaze classes that some hospitals organize. She would come to us, and she paired us up with our neighbors who happened to be pregnant around the same time and also happened to be her clients. So it was like, you know, lots of coincidences which were really good and we're very grateful for. I'm sorry, there's monkeys. 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 Yeah, it's crazy. So picking up to what I was saying about, what was I saying? So coincidentally, our midwife, who's the one who helped deliver our baby, is also the one who gave us the prenatal classes. And coincidentally, she was also the midwife of our neighbor, like right next door, who was also due round about the same time. So it was like lots of coincidences, but we were really happy, and we had her coming to us and she was giving us the prenatal classes with us, like at home, which was really nice and comfortable in our own setting. So I would highly recommend getting prenatal classes if you can. For us, because we gave birth at home, my husband was there and he knew what to do, and he was very much prepared and in the zone, feeding me and rubbing my back and just making sure to help me through my contractions. And that was all thanks to the prenatal classes. So drag your husband or your partner for these prenatal classes. They're not just for the woman, they're for both of you. If you can, please look into it.
No.
So Babymoon is basically a vacation / holiday that you take with your partner before the baby arrives. And it's literally the last time that the two of you will be alone before this baby comes into your world and just changes everything. In a good way. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. And, you know, you can still travel with your baby, I'm sure. But it was just so good to just have a holiday. So we went to Diani, just the two of us. And I think I was 32 weeks. And I was pretty big, but it was still so nice. And, you know, we went swimming and we went snorkeling, and it was amazing just to have that time to ourselves, to like just, you know, relax, switch off for a bit before we get back into baby mode. It was great to, you know, be on the beach, and we did go snorkeling, even though the guys who took us snorkeling was like seeing me with my big belly, and they're just like. But it was totally fine. Like, we love snorkeling, my husband and I, and they drove us out on the boat to the middle of, you know, where the reefs are, and we jumped out and we were snorkeling there for ages.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. If you can take a holiday, if you can go somewhere, just the two of you, just for a couple of days, obviously check with your doctor, check with your midwife, check with whoever is your health provider. For us, I had to make sure I was okay to take a long trip. If you can do it, please, please, please look into it. We found this book, Pregnancy for Men. We stumbled upon it by accident. It was a day when we came back from our 12-week scan, and as we were coming back into our flat in the UK, and we found that our neighbor was moving out, and he just chucked out a lot of stuff into the bin. And this was one of the things he chucked out, which is weird because we just come back from our scan, and it was almost as if it was fate. Like, you know, we don't usually go through bins, but it was literally just sitting there, just begging to be picked up. And honestly, it was like the best find. It's written by a man, so it's like a male perspective on preparing for a baby. It breaks down like month to month what's happening to the woman and what that means, and how as the man you can help make your wife or your partner more comfortable. Guys and girls, like, I read it as well. In fact, I read it, and then I was coming back to Kenya, and I left my husband behind, and I was like, I'm taking this book with me, so he had to get another copy. So we have 2 copies. It's very wittily written, it's funny, it's a really pleasant read, and it's very informative, and it'll just give you like a better idea of what's going on in your body, what that means, what your partner is going through if you're the man, what that means, how you can help, and the both of you go through the journey together. So I highly recommend that, or something equivalent to that, just any book about pregnancy, what to expect, or anything. One of the ways we made use of the months leading up to having the baby was we got out as much as we could. My husband especially, like, he would go on cycling trips, and he went to like West Pokot with a friend who they went cycling together, and they had their adventures, and then he went to Uganda to visit another friend, and I was like, yeah, go, just get out, go get it out of your system, because once this baby comes, our lives are going to be like changing. And you know, the other thing is, like, everyone tells you, oh, your life is going to change, say goodbye to your social life. That hasn't quite worked out to be like that with us. Like, we've still managed to socialize with friends and family and whatever, but obviously it's not the same. I remember, like, for me, because I love to go for karaoke, I wanted to do as much karaokeing as I could. And you know, karaoke is, yeah, you're going to a bar, but it's in the middle of the week, and it's very relaxed, so the atmosphere is really chilled. It's not like crowded people in your face, you know, rubbing up against you, nothing like that. It was like really chilled. Some karaoke bars have like sofas you can stretch, you put your legs up, and so that's what I did. So I was going out at night, yes, I was socializing, yes, I was going out to dinners with friends, and like, yeah, I was that pregnant woman who you see in the nightclub, but it wasn't a nightclub in that sense, you know. You know, someone said to me, this is the one chance that you have to take your baby anywhere you want, because she's in your belly. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about like carrying stuff for her or what she's going to eat or any of that. It's just just upping and going. And I thought, okay, cool. So I really took that advice and I was out. I wasn't like out every night. I was going out like once every 2 weeks or something, but it was really nice to just get it out of my system, have as much fun as I could. One time I dragged my mom along and we went to karaoke, and it was nice, you know, just hanging out with friends and having as much of that freedom as possible. It's all about listening to your body. For as long as you're able to, just get out, go shopping, do your nails, get a massage, get pampered. Just do things that will make you happy, that will take care of you, that will make you feel good. Just make the most of this time before the baby comes. So you're prepping for a baby, but you're also making the most of that time before the baby, because you're also taking care of yourself, and we need to take care of ourselves, girls. So in conclusion, the 3 things I would like to stress while you're preparing for your baby. Number 1, get as much information as you can. It's really important, whether that means doing prenatal classes, buying books and reading them, downloading apps on your phone. It's really, really important for you to know what's happening and what that means, both you and your partner. Number 2, take care of yourself, whether that means going out, socializing, relaxing, getting a massage, pampering yourself, doing your nails, doing your hair, meeting up with friends, going on a baby moon, take a holiday with your partner, go off, just switch off, reconnect, just the 2 of you bond before this baby comes in. And the last thing is, if you can open your mind to getting hand-me-downs or stuff from your friends and family that are not using them anymore. I'm not saying don't spend any money. Obviously, if you want to, by all means, but if you never thought about it and you're like, oh, actually that's a good idea, it was a really good idea for us. We never thought about it. Someone said it to us and we thought, okay, fine, we're open to the idea, we don't mind. If you can just say to someone who you know has had a child recently or a year or 2 before and they still have the stuff, and you ask them, you'll be surprised how happy people will be to just offload that stuff off to you. So if you're open to that, please look into it, explore that option, and if it works for you, great. So there you have it. Those are the 3 main tips that I share in this baby prepping video. Obviously, do other stuff that you need to do to prepare yourself for this baby who's coming. Obviously, if you need to go and buy stuff, decorate a nursery, I don't know, whatever it is that you need to do that you think I haven't mentioned, pack your hospital bag, all that stuff, go for it. This is just the extra stuff that I thought is worth mentioning, and if you think it's good for you and it'll work for you, go for it. The other 2 things I forgot to mention, which maybe I'll just throw in here now that I'm already filming this. Number 1 is document your pregnancy. Document as much as you can. We did a pregnancy photo shoot. I mean, we did like a professional photo shoot. We got someone to come in and take pictures. I was given the advice by someone else to document the pregnancy, and I'm forever grateful for whoever it is that gave me that advice. Honestly, I can't remember who it is, but I'm so glad that I did. Just consider documenting it, because it's gonna go by so fast and you're gonna forget what you look like when you're pregnant. You're gonna forget what it was like, how it felt, all of that. Even if you don't do a professional photo shoot, take photos, take videos on your phone, on your camera. Just document your pregnancy. The last one is, we had our baby shower. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you to organize it because supposedly it's supposed to be a surprise. However you want to do it, I thought it was really cool, just for nothing else, to see people before I have the baby, and it was just nice to have people come together and just spend time with, especially girlfriends, and share tips, and those who are already moms, just talking about their journey and giving you advice. Not all of it is going to be great. Everyone's different. But it's just interesting to hear how people went through some things, and some people disclose things that they struggle with, so you don't feel like isolated if you go through something where you're like struggling or think it's too much. Generally speaking, just seeing people hang out with your friends, socializing, I think is really good, and I thought was great that I managed to see all my friends in one setting on the same day and spend that time with them. So if you can manage to do a baby shower or whatever it is you call it, just get together with your friends, get together with people, and see people one more time before you have this little one who's coming in and taking over all your attention and all your time and all your energy and all of that. So that's the end. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, if you want to ask for a request for something specific, or if you just want to comment, hit the comment section. Otherwise, if you like this video or any of my other videos, please remember to give it a thumbs up and share, subscribe, all of that. Bye!